Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or shall I say good morning or good evening. I don't know where you are in the world, but here in this part of the world, it's definitely the afternoon. Today, I am finally going to introduce you to the world of Fraser Gartshore's organ works, a recording that was made in a galaxy a long time ago. Well, it was made a very long time ago, actually, and through various, I suppose, let's blame it on the pandemic. Through various factors, it took forever to get the production through, and the CDs and eventually the books of the music finally arrived. Now, this was a project I started using Start Next, which is a sort of crowdfunding campaign, and that was to cover the costs of making the project, making the CD, making the books. It basically covered everything, not quite, but we got there. And after a lot of hassle, the CDs and the books were sent out around the world to the people who supported the project. Now, the project itself was based on, as I called it, Fraser Gartshore's organ works, for the simple reason that I wanted to compose works of my own, hence the title, but they were going to be commissioned works. And 10 people from the Start Next project had the chance to get a piece commissioned, or to commission a piece. That way around, yes, that's right, isn't it? And those 10 people have their works on the CD. And today I thought I would introduce you to the works themselves, tell you a little bit about them, and let you know that finally you can get your hands on the CD yourself as well. And you can either get a nice sealed CD, that's sealed up in cellophane, like that, or you can get one that I've already opened and then oops, this one's fallen apart. This is my private version. You could get one that hopefully hasn't fallen apart, but has my name signed on it there. So I've opened them up and I've signed them, and you can buy, so you can get your hands on a signed CD, or, like I say, a wrapped up CD. Now, regarding the book of music, this was a special deal for people who were on the Start Next project. But the books themselves will not be available to everybody at present. However, the individual pieces will be available. If you are an organist, or if you know someone who is an organist who would like to be able to play these pieces as well, you can get your hands on individual PDF versions of the pieces as a download. Here then to the 10 pieces. The 10 pieces were recorded on 3 different organs. Now, these are all Hauptwerk recordings, but they're not sort of digitally cheated recordings. They were recorded live, and they were actually recorded as if I was playing on a live organ somewhere. That was rather cleverly done. The computer, everything was wired up to an official, what do you call it, an official sort of recording interface machine, and it was recorded as audio. It wasn't recorded digitally. It was recorded, well, of course it was recorded as digital audio, but it wasn't recorded like MIDI, that's what I mean. It was recorded as proper audio and then taken away to a studio, and people worked their magic on it, and it sounds wonderful, actually. Sounds much better than, just playing the organ through headphones, which is all I've got at the moment anyway. So it was a professional studio recording, although I did it from the comfort of the console here. I received permission from the sample set owners to use the organs on recording. And the organs we used were the organ in Nancy Cathedral, the organ in Alessandria Cathedral in Italy, and the Robert Morton Theatre organ sample set. And thanks to Melotone Sound Productions and, of course, Piotr Grabowski for allowing me to use these organs on an actual CD. Very, very kind of you indeed. Thank you very much. So, the first piece, Direct Blast. Exclamation mark. All the titles of the pieces have something to do with the people that commissioned them. So Direct Blast is a piece of music for my friend Dirk, who lives in Switzerland, and he requested a piece in a sort of a rock, prog rock, sort of heavy, a bit sort of almost heavy metal style. So it's a very sort of loud, rhythmic, crashing piece of music with that sort of a pounding rhythm. I think that's a very good way to do it. Take a listen. second one is a theatre organ piece of music, simply called Piece of Cake, and this was for Peter. Peter requested something jazzy, and I think this is a nice sort of light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek, happy piece of music. At least I like to think so. Number 3 is, I call this Modus Confluentes. I was trying to use some old Latin there. Modus Confluentes. And the idea is we've taken 3 themes, 3 subjects, and let them flow together, hence the word confluentes. And this was a request from Martin. And Martin asked for something in a sort of arabesque style. Something in an arabesque style using themes from Bach fugues. Now that's a very, very specific task. I, however, decided to take this and turn it, because he said arabesque, so that sort of rang bells like sort of Ravel, Debussy, that kind of thing. So I kind of turned it into something French romantic sounding, and I hope you like it. Number 4 is a piece of music I cannot myself pronounce. It's written in Gaelic. And I'm not sure if it's Irish Gaelic or Scottish Gaelic. It's so long, I can't remember. I think it was actually Irish Gaelic. I can't remember. I have no idea how you pronounce this, so I'm not going to try. But BF, those are for Bill, or William, who asked for a lively, sort of jiggy style toccata. So because of that, I've composed this sort of Celtic sounding piece that really sort of goes for it. This was recorded on the Alessandria organ, so it uses all those naughty big sounds that the Alessandria organ has. I like it. It's a fun one. It's sort of one of my sort of rhythmic things. And there's lots of counter rhythms going on in the background. It's when I wrote it out, I sort of thought, how on earth do I write this out? It's rather complicated, but it worked. It worked, and it's not as difficult as it sounds. Michael. I've taken the little booklet out because inside I did write a little sort of bit about, you know, all these pieces. Number 5 is from Michael. Magical Glances, we called it. Now, it was actually sponsored by Michael's wife, as far as I know. She got hold of it and wanted this for Michael. And Magical Glances, this is another theatre organ piece, but this time it's a sort of a more romantic ballad. And in the music itself, I decided not actually to transcribe it exactly as played. I did it as a jazz lead sheet, so it's just the melody with the chord symbols on it. And I did that deliberately because I think, you know, if people are going to play this kind of music, that's what you would find in a book of similar music. So yeah, if you want to play this one, there's just a very simple lead sheet, and that encourages you to arrange it yourself. But it's the exact melody as it was played in the recording, and the harmonies underneath are exactly the same. So if you want to recreate what I did, it should be rather easy. That was Magical Glances. Take a listen. Number 6 is another piece commissioned by someone for their partner, At Heart. This is again a sort of a light-hearted jazzy number, again on the Morton Theatre organ, and it was requested by my friend Kai for Antonia. So there you are. So Antonia gets At Heart. 7 takes us back to Alessandria in northern Italy, and we're back to sort of rhythmic stuff, the kind of stuff that I love doing. But this time it's a much lighter number, certainly from the registration, much lighter. However, it's a sort of a samba rhythm, sort of Latin American rhythm on Lobe den Herren, a wonderful old traditional German tune, and this was a request from my friend Daniel. Number 8. Now this one is actually called a jig, the Restless Jig. And Rob got in touch and said, I would like something in the style of Jean-Michel Jarre. Remember him? Surrounded by keyboards and light effects and things like that. And I went back and listened through all the Jean-Michel Jarre stuff that I knew and remembered, and I thought, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then I came up with this sort of idea. Now at this point, if you've listened through the CD to this point, you may have noticed that there are some ideas and themes or things that you might recognize. I've tried to keep a sort of a theme running through the entire recording, and I think by this point it should become relatively obvious. I wonder will people be able to work out what that theme is. There's a sort of a little competition going. If you can work out what that theme is and let me know, I will send you one of these books free of charge as a sort of a prize. But you have to let me know exactly. What do you think? Don't do it in the comments below. Send it to the email address gang@gartshore.de. There's it on the screen there. gang@gartshore.de. If you put it in the comments below, other people will get it too. We don't want that. Keep it secret. Yeah, Restless Jig for Rob. And this was, what did he say? A Jean-Michel Jarre styled composition for Rob. Oh, that's all. And his idea was around the sort of the equinox themes from Jean-Michel Jarre back in the day. And I've got this sort of very sort of persistent rhythm going on in the left hand all the time. It's quite difficult to keep going, It builds and builds and builds and builds until it sort of explodes. Not quite like direct blast, but sort of in that direction, if you know what I mean. Fun piece of music. Number 9 is taking us back to my rotten school Latin again, but I couldn't resist it because I'm going to tell you this guy's full name as well, because then you'll get the the background to it. Alexander Wunderlich. Now, if you've been watching our live streams for the past few months, you will recognize the name Alexander Wunderlich. Alexander's been around from the very beginning, and Alexander's become a very good friend of the Gartshore gang. And Alexander has the most amazing requests that I have to sort of sight read on an almost weekly basis. It's hard work, but I love doing it because Alexander keeps me on my toes. And Alexander was one of the first to request one of these pieces of music, and he requested, let me read this for you. I didn't actually tell you what it was, but he had sort of requested not a chorale fantasy, but a chorale prelude on certain hymns, certain ideas, something in the style of a Rheinberger or that kind of idea. Yeah. So I dug around for a bit. Now his name is Alexander Wunderlich. I thought, one of my favorite hymn tunes is the old German Maria hymn, Wunderschön Prächtige. So on that sort of wunderschön and wunderlich, that makes sense, doesn't it? So I turned that into Andante, Bene, Splendidis. Is that correct Latin? I've no idea, but that's what I turned it into. Andante, Bene, Splendidis, based on Wunderschön Prächtige for Alexander Wunderlich. And it's over-the-top German romantic harmonies. It's sort of Mendelssohn meets Rheinberger meets early Reger. Take a listen. And so to number 10. Number 10 is entitled Misterioso Tranqillo. And it too is based on a hymn tune, although you won't recognize it until pretty much the middle of the piece. Now this was a request from another friend of ours from the Gartshore gang called Michael, so Michael but in German. And Michael lives up near Cologne and is dead interested in everything in the organ world, and he's been in touch with us for pretty much since the beginning. So I was very pleased when Michael wrote to me and requested an improvised rhapsody. An improvised rhapsody, and I've taken the hymn tune, Komm Heiliger Geist, or Come Holy Ghost, it's the same tune, whichever you want in English or German. I changed the rhythm ever so slightly, but to make it misterioso, I've introduced some rather bizarre harmonic moves, and the bit around from the beginning of the piece sort of working its way through until the piece builds up and builds back down again. It's one of those, sort of very British sort of improvisation styles. It starts very quietly, builds up to full organ, and then all the way back down again. And I've taken the Holy Ghost idea and made it misterioso. And like I say, the harmonies, especially at the beginning, they're sort of rather weird. They are strangely related, but very unrelated, if you know what I mean. It sounds, you sort of think, oh yeah, that sounds acceptable. But the chords, they don't have anything to do with each other, but I've got a little theme running through them. Where's that theme again? So yes, Misterioso Tranqillo. If I was being honest, I think this is my personal favorite of the CD, just because of those harmonies. It's it's the kind of thing I love doing, and I was very sort of pleased. When I was working at the organ to sort of come up with the idea for this piece of music, it took me a long time to get those that harmonic movement. It took me a long time to get that perfected, and once I got it, I couldn't stop playing it. It was rather addictive. So it became, while I was recording it, it became my favorite piece. So I hope you like it too. Misterioso Tranqillo. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my little presentation of the Organ Works works, of the organ works, let's put it like that. And yes, if you're interested, I would love it if you headed over to the website, that's frasergartshore.com, where you yourself can get hold of your own copy. And yes, we can send them around the world freely these days. A couple of years ago, when that one came out, Piping Hot at the Organ, yeah, that was just after Corona started, and we couldn't send them around the world for a long time. It took forever for people to get there. So it seems to be a sort of running theme with my recordings. It takes forever to get them sent out around the world. Sadly, nothing I can do about it. It seems that everything is beyond my control. The next time I do a CD recording, I'm going to take full control of it myself. Definitely, because yes, working with other people. But having said that, the people who did the recording, the studio involved, the people who produced the actual CD itself, flawless, no problem at all. But then getting them sent out and around the world, the people with the book were an absolute disaster. I will not be using them ever again. But that's by the by. The quality is good, but just working with them is an absolute disaster. So that's not happening again. I think in future we'll stick to paperless downloads. It seems to be the way a lot of people are working these days anyway. But head on over to the website, get your hands on one of these. They will be sent out within 48 hours once you've purchased your CD. And yeah, if you want to get hold of them before Christmas, before Halloween even, no problem at all. They'll be there. I look forward to hearing from you. Once you've got your CD, let me know what you think of it. It's always good to hear from you. And don't forget, we can see you every week in our live streams, Friday evening and Sunday evening at Central European times. We start at 10 p.m. every Friday, every Sunday night. That's Central European time, so work that out, whatever that is internationally. And we look forward to seeing you in the chat and in the audience. Take care, and we'll see you very soon with a lot more organ music. See you then. Bye-bye.